So Theodora, why is it that when I go to the EPA website, it doesn't seem to be a problem?
You know, the EPA was defunded from setting proper federally developed safety limits on this kind of radiation, wireless radiation, radio frequency. Back in the 90s, they had a robust program. They were developing limits for the public, and they were defunded, and we took on the limits of industry groups. And ever since then, and if you go to our websites where you would think you would find information for the public that's understandable, that shows the issue and the scientific results, you're not going to find it. It's, our government agencies are not accountable to this issue. The EPA says it's not their issue. The FDA is rejecting the findings of an NIH study which looked at long-term exposures on animals and found clear evidence of cancer. And the FDA says, well, we don't agree with those findings. The Harvard Department of Ethics put out a book on the issue of wireless radiation and our government, and followed the money and found so much money not only to our Congress people, but also the industry involvement in the science has created a situation where, and the Harvard book goes into this, where they're using tobacco tactics related to the issue of wireless and cell phone radiation. So if you look at the science and you look at industry funded versus non-industry funded, you'll see that when you pull out the industry funded studies, the majority of studies have found an effect. And there's so much more about that. You can get that book. It's actually online.
I think it's unfortunate that industry has been able to hijack the agencies that are supposed to be there to protect us.
Yes, it's called regulatory capture. So if you look at the FCC commissioners, they are former industry lawyers or executives, and you also find that those commissioners then leave the FCC and get jobs heading up industry groups. So there's this back and forth that happens, and we don't have accountability to the public health, certainly not with the FCC, which is given regulatory authority on this issue. In fact, the Government Accountability Office did a report saying the limits need to be updated, and we need to look at the issue of cell phones because, for example, cell phones are not tested touching the body, yet we use them touching our body all the time. When they're tested touching the body, and a study just came out on this, they exceed US limits. In fact, one analysis that just came out based on hundreds of tests done by the government of France, which is looking into this, showed exceedances of up to 11 times. And people they put their phones in their bra, women do. We put them in their spandex pants for gym class. They wear them when we go running.
Back pockets all the time.
In pockets, close, tight pockets. And when the city of Berkeley and San Francisco passed ordinances to inform people what the phone says, it says it in the settings and in the manual that it shouldn't be touching your body or it can exceed the limits. Industry immediately filed suit stating that it violated their free speech rights for them to be forced to say this. Yet it's factual information. So with 5G, it's the same thing happening. And in fact, one of our our senior advisor, engineer Lloyd Morgan, as he stated, the wireless industry makes the tobacco industry look like a mom and pop shop.